Do an intro.
That's all you get. I'm not doing a vocal intro.
That was pretty good. Those claps. I felt that they were very well synced. You know.
I was clapping the Terminator theme song.
I could tell there was some weight there. You know. Even though there were only like 4 claps, I could tell that was the Terminator theme.
That was the start. It goes. And it just, you know.
It builds
goes
from
on
there.
like that. No, it just goes. Yeah, it just goes on like that.
Yeah. Alright, so we're discussing Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, or Assassin's Creed Black Flag, or Assassin's Creed 4. Whichever one you want to call it. AC4, Ass Creed 4, whatever it is. There's a lot of variability there, isn't there?
No, really.
It's a flexible name, though.
No, it's a pretty basic title. It's
Creed.
just Assassin's Creed 4.
With a subtitle. It's the first main game in the series, the first numbered game that has a subtitle on it. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you don't come up with your own subtitle for them.
Like Assassin's Creed 3 Boat Simulator.
Or like Assassin's Creed 1, Adventures of a Superhero in the Middle East. In 1910.
That's a 1910.
The 1000s.
The 10. Well, okay, let's just start. Let me start by saying that I love the Assassin's Creed series. And I've had issues with the individual games in the series. Like, I feel like Assassin's Creed 2 was the best, with Brotherhood right behind it. But I felt like Revelations and Assassin's Creed 3 were kind of steps in the wrong direction. Like, Revelations was derivative and dull and added nothing new. And Assassin's Creed 3 was good from a pure gameplay standpoint, but it focused on all the the least interesting aspects of the game. It's like, all the aspects of the game about assassinating people that you don't want to focus on, it focused on. Like, there was no assassinating to be done. There's hunting to do, you can explore, you can find, like, stupid shit like codex pages, you can renovate buildings, upgrade your boat, but you don't get to assassinate anyone like you did in Assassin's Creed 1 or 2. I felt like Revelations didn't really do that either, but they're getting, like, further and further away from the formula of actually assassinating people.
That's actually something, when Assassin's Creed 1 got announced, before it came out, I was really hyped for it. And based on all of the pre-release stuff, they made it seem kind of like Hitman, but, you know, in medieval period. I thought you'd, like, you know, select a target, get on your horse, and ride to the city, and then locate the best method of assassination, and then do it. But once I actually played the game, and based off of how it's expanded from there, I pretty much realized that the Assassin's Creed is just kind of like a artifact title, if you know what I mean. It doesn't really speak much about the game anymore. It's just the title that the series has.
Well, Assassin's Creed 1 was pretty much entirely about assassinating. I mean, there was, like, eavesdropping to do and everything, but, like, it focused around 9 targets that you need to assassinate. And actually assassinate, you know, they gave you targets. You had to sneak in there, you had to find them, you had to kill them. You have targets in Assassin's Creed 3 as well, but you don't have to do any of that. You just go to the mission and then get into a sword fight with them and kill them. It's not assassinating. That's
technically
that's assaulting.
That's technically assassination.
Like, look at how. Wait, I don't know if I shouldn't spoil anything. You know what? It already came out. Assassin's Creed 3 spoiler alert. Like, the final guy that you have to kill, you chase him throughout the fucking world, and then, like, it ends in a fucking bar after you both get blown up in a giant building. It ends in a bar and you just stab him at the table. Not even in gameplay. That's a cutscene. The big bad. That's how it ends. Like, look at that. Yeah, that's Assassin's Creed. It's gone from 9 targets you actually have to kill. You have to actually find out things about, sneak in and kill them. Like, Assassin's Creed 2 had that too. But then 3 is all about, like, it's about frontier times, not about assassinating people. But 4 is about pirates, so that's more interesting, right? At least if it's about the secondary thing, not the assassinating thing, at least it's about pirates. It's more interesting, right?
Yeah, I'm not... When I buy Assassin's Creed games now, I don't really you know, keep in mind the whole assassination thing when I'm playing it. I'm just like, well, they've obviously gotten away from that by now, so there's no point in just focusing on the assassination. It's not really an assassination game by this point. But, like, I'm happy that they've decided, you know, they're not just going to make a pure assassination game set in, you know, different periods of history. They're actually, they like you said, I guess, they've kind of embraced the fact that they've gotten away from assassinating, and now they're embracing pirates and stuff. To be honest, I guess that's kind of an interesting time period, an interesting idea.
Though I did see in
there
the
aren't many,
trailer, I saw like a little flash of Assassin's Creed 2 in the trailer. Like, there's a part where the protagonist just like slips up behind the guy, stabs him, and walks away with his girl.
Yeah.
I felt like that was really kind of Assassin's Creed 2-esque, you know? I feel like this protagonist is going to be a lot more interesting than Connor was.
He looks like more of a badass.
Yeah, he seems like a new Ezio. He might be the most likable protagonist since Ezio, at least.
Based on everything we know about him.
Yeah, just so far, but like compare him to Connor, who I think is the most boring protagonist because he has such a bland personality. Just like anger and vengeance drive him the entire game, and then Altair, who doesn't do anything. He doesn't really say much. He goes from cocky to subordinate. Like, Ezio was the only character that really had much of a personality. And I feel like this guy, Edward Kenway, is he has a good personality to him. He seems to be an interesting character. Since he is a pirate, you can't have a boring pirate, right?
Well, you can.
A pirate
Have you seen
accountant.
Pirates of the Caribbean?
I saw the first one, but I don't really remember it too well.
Do you remember that Will character?
Not really, no.
There you go, case in point. I bet you remember Jack Sparrow, though, don't you?
Of course I remember Jack Sparrow.
There you go! Will, I don't remember his second name, I think it was Will Turner. He was like the main lead opposite Jack Sparrow in that movie, and you don't remember him at all.
Alright, was he the guy that was supposed to be going for that chick?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He was you see my point, though, right? Like, there you go, that's a boring pirate for you.
Yeah, there you go. Huh.
Do you know, how Edward Kenway relates to Connor?
Yeah, he's Connor's grandfather. He's Hatham's father.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, isn't it?
That is interesting. I'm not sure about his nationality. Would you like to?
I'm pretty sure he's English.
Oh. Do you know where he was born? Like, in universe?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
But yeah, this will be the first time that a main series game takes place after the last installment, because this will be set further back before Connor's time, obviously.
Yeah, it's like a prequel.
Yeah, but I mean, as interesting as Edward Kenway may be, he has the lamest name for a protagonist so far. You know, like there's Altair Ibn al-Ahad, there's Ezio Auditore da Firenze, and then, well, I'm not even gonna bother trying to pronounce Connor's fucking name. Radun Hegutun or something like that. But you go to Ed. You know, it goes to Ed.
Yeah, to be honest, even Hatham Kenway is better than Edward Kenway.
Yeah, Hatham's interesting, I have to admit.
What kind of a name is Hatham? Do you think that's you could still name a kid that nowadays and he wouldn't get picked on it for it?
I don't really know. I mean, you might be able to.
If you had a son, would you be willing to name him Hatham? Hatham?
I don't know. I don't think I would.
No, me neither, I'll be honest.
But I mean, like, to be fair, I've seen kids get picked on for, like, you know, much more regular names. Like Gabriel gets picked on a lot.
Yeah, he does.
like it's just the way it is. Like, you don't need to have a weird name to get picked on. You just have to, you know, be a weird kid.
Yeah. Although a weird name doesn't help always.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like we're kind of getting away from the main topic.
We keep doing that.
It's what we do best.
Anyway, not Hatham. Edward is a hard-drinking, hard-fighting, hard-fucking pirate. So he should be a very interesting character. Hatham's journal that you can pick, that I don't remember how it comes about. I think it's like I think it's like a separate release. Like you can actually buy the journal or something like that. But it mentions that Edward dies in like 1735. And he started being a pirate in 1713. Hatham was born in 1725. So there's a very small window of time where the game can be set. It's pretty much going to be between 1713 and 1725. Meanwhile, you know, Ezio's story takes place over like 40 fucking years. So that's kind of interesting. That's a very small window.
Why would it necessarily have to end when Hatham is born?
Because that's when he retires. Edward retires after Hatham's born.
Oh, Jesus, that's not long at all. That's a very short career.
Exactly. So it looks like about a 12-year time span that the game could be set in, which seems kind of off for an Assassin's Creed game. Normally they do like 2-year skips every now and then just for fun. Like there's like part in Assassin's Creed 2 where it goes from killing someone to Ezio just sitting on a bench 2 years later. Like just a random arbitrary 2-year skip like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that. What do you think could have happened in that 2-year span?
I have no idea.
Because 2 years is a lot of time. It seems kind of weird that you would go from being in the middle of your conspirator assassination to just doing nothing for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it means that the story's probably going to be a bit more fast-paced than Ezio's was, but it probably won't. It won't be as epic, I don't think.
No.
But yeah, I heard that modern-day segments will have you play as an Abstergo researcher.
Yeah, the way I heard it explained was that they're keeping the modern storyline in, but I guess because Desmond's is kind of wrapped up now.
Yeah.
Instead of you playing as Desmond, the modern day features you. That's right, you, the player, hired by Abstergo to do research in the Animus. Details yet to follow.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds promising.
It sounds a little bit interesting. We'll see how they handle that.
Mike's echoing again, man. Just throwing it out there.
Well, that'll pass. I don't think there's anything I can really do about that.
Well, yeah, but anyway, okay, fuck's sake, that's pissing me off right now.
What's happening?
Your fucking mic echoing.
It'll stop in a minute.
I'll have to fix it in post or something. The game is set in Havana, Nassau, and Kingston, with 40% of the game being in the water. So there's going to be a large focus on boats, obviously, more so than Assassin's Creed 3, which could be good or bad, depending on how you felt about the boat sequences.
Most people seem to like them.
Yeah, they were pretty decent.
I thought they were alright, but I mean, I heard it explained pretty much like you just did, but I guess a slight difference is that like Havana and Kingston, Havana, Cuba, Kingston, Jamaica, and that other city that I'm not really sure where that is, but there's like 3 main locations. But I also think that you can just explore the other Caribbean islands. Like it's not really super in depth, but you can sail to them. And I'm assuming there'll be a couple of ports here and there. But,
yeah, like how they had Forlì and Monterigoni in Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, and I think the developer said something like the majority of the story missions and stuff will take place on land, but most of the gameplay features and messing around, I guess, or the optional stuff, that'll mainly be water. So it's kind of a 60-40 split, with the 40% being the water-based stuff, the 60% being the mission-based stuff. But based on, like, dependent on how the player plays, it should average out at around 50-50, like time spent on land and water.
Hopefully there's a mix between like land missions and the water a bit, like you can
well, yeah,
take a different approach, like maybe go get your boat and like ride it up to the assassination target and hit him with cannons.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, I think something that the developers were talking about was they were going to mix up, they're going to make it a little bit more, they're going to have more variety. They're bringing stealth back, like, because it's not that they ever really lost stealth in Assassin's Creed, but they were kind of downplaying it, I think, in the newer installments. So they're going to try and bring that back, because pirates couldn't really announce their presence with a cannon, with a cannon shot. They had to be a little bit stealthy when it came to raiding people.
Pirates don't strike me as the most stealthy people.
Well, and we're not talking like secret agent ninja stealth. We're talking ship
giant
stealth.
Boat with a bunch of cannons stealth.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into gameplay quite yet. I had a few more things to discuss. Like for one, I saw pictures of some of the areas. I saw pictures of Kingston and Havana, and Kingston looks kind of boring. It looks like a bit like Boston or New York in Assassin's Creed 3. It seems to be a bit more built up with like small buildings and stuff. But Havana looks very interesting. It seems like it has a lot of bigger buildings to climb on. It looks like it could be much more intriguing to explore. I think there were some areas in the jungle, and since this isn't in the Caribbeans with like Kingston, Jamaica, Havana, Cuba, and Nassau in the Bahamas, I'm assuming the Bahamas. It wouldn't make any sense for it to be Nassau County in New York, which would be very stupid. But it means that there would be a lot of jungle areas to explore. So, I mean,
yeah,
I did see pictures of Edward climbing a tree, so they brought that back.
Yeah, that's definitely back. But I think the difference between they're trying to mix up, like they're trying to make the cities feel a bit more distinct. I think like Havana, Cuba is meant to be like a proper city, like a bustling port of trade and commerce. Like it's meant to be quite big and rich. Whereas Kingston, Jamaica, they describe as more of a rundown kind of corrupt place. Like if you were going to go there, then there might be a lot more gangs and crime there. And speaking of like jungles and stuff, from what I can tell, as well as the various cities and stuff, there's a whole bunch new locations. Just like like you said, you can explore in the jungles. There are like Mayan ruins and like underwater wrecks. You can like go deep sea diving, I guess. Now, I'm not really sure how that's gonna work, but
I saw a few things of that.
Unless Edward can just hold his breath for like 10 minutes. But.
Yeah, I saw him go underwater and like find shipwrecks and open up chests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There may be like some sort of underwater, like, what's it called, air bubbles to get. Or I don't know if you have to surface. If you have to surface, it would be kind of tedious, I think.
Yeah, but if there were air bubbles, it might be a little bit difficult to take seriously. It'll be
I mean like air pockets, like underneath the overhang, that kind of thing. But yeah, speaking of back to the game's development, it was in development since 2011, which means it won't learn much from any mistakes that Assassin's Creed 3 made. But the weirdest thing is, it's being developed by 7 different studios.
What?
I don't know if you heard that, but it's being developed by 7 different studios. Ubisoft Montreal, Kiev, and Quebec and Singapore will develop the campaign. Ubisoft Sofia, which made Liberations, will handle the present-day segments. Ubisoft Annecy and Bucharest will handle multiplayer. So splitting a game that much will allow it to come out faster, which is of course good for cashing in. But if they're working on so many different studios, they're probably going to make it seem very schizophrenic. Because if 2 studios work on the same game, it looks disjointed. But when you have 7 different studios working on the same game, that can be very, very, very concerning, I think.
Yeah, I'll be honest, that doesn't seem to bode too well for me, since based on my experience with playing games before, I guess, from what I've noticed, when it's just one company working on a game for a long time, then the game's usually quite focused and compact, and it's fun, and it's, like I said, it's focused, it's fast-paced, and it's good. But when they bring in loads of different companies to try and finish the game as fast as possible, in an attempt to release it within a certain date, like when they want to make it annual releases, as they've been doing with Assassin's Creed, that tends to suck because it takes out. There's like less communication going on with the various teams, and different teams handle things in different ways. So I imagine that there are certain elements of Black Flag that are going to be very strong, but there are others that are going to falter quite a lot. Like I get the feeling that the modern day segments are not going to be too good compared to the main gameplay. But
well, I mean, there is always the thought process that if they give the modern day segments to a different studio that will work on it entirely, maybe the modern day segments will be a lot stronger than previous games. Because if only one studio is working on that part, then that could. Like I see a problem with switching up the campaign between different studios. I think that too many studios working on the same campaign would be a bad idea. But if you're going to be splitting up different modes between studios, that might be a little more palatable. Because the modes are going to be different things anyway. Like there's no real connectivity between the present day and the past, so you can go for a completely different studio there.
Yeah, I just kind of wish that Ubisoft focused more on making a good game instead of releasing one every single year, because Assassin's Creed started out as one of those series that I was really interested in. Like the first one, I was looking forward to getting for ages. I was really hyped about it. I eventually got it and I played it, and it wasn't what I was expecting. Like the marketing was a little bit misleading. Yeah, but I still thought it was an okay game. And then I played the second one. I thought it was a great game. And even Brotherhood, I still had loads of fun with. But after that, my interest has been dropping massively because I'm just getting so oversaturated with Assassin's Creed. There's a new one every single year, and they don't tend to add too much each year. They add like a couple things to make it worth buying, or they change a few things around, take out stuff that didn't work. But they don't really seem to add enough that makes it worth buying. And I never even got around to finishing Revelations or Assassin's Creed 3. I thought Assassin's Creed 3 was better than Revelations, but I guess I've just been so oversaturated with Assassin's Creed that I can't be bothered anymore. Like that's why certain series that I really do like Elder Scrolls and like GTA and everything, the reason I like them so much is because they get released very scarcely, and when they are released, there are massive changes between each iteration, which makes it worth buying.
Yeah, like the 5 or 6 year break between Oblivion and Skyrim led to that massive improvement in terms of gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're looking at like what, another maybe 4 or 5 years between GTA 4 and 5. Probably going to be a huge
GTA
increase in quality there.
Yeah, the GTA 4 base game was released in 2008.
Yeah.
At the start of 2008. GTA 5 is going to be released at the end of 2013. So that's almost 6 years, and that's about the same between Oblivion and Skyrim. You know.
Yeah.
And look at the difference in quality between the two.
The biggest problem I have is that if you release the games yearly, it keeps you from responding to players' complaints. And Ubisoft responding to players' complaints is what made Assassin's Creed 2 such an improvement over 1. They sat down and spent like 2 or 3 years working on a game that answered every problem that players had with Assassin's Creed 1. And that's why Assassin's Creed 2 was so much better than it. Like, I put Assassin's Creed 2's improvement over Assassin's Creed 1 on par with the Skyrim, with the Oblivion to Skyrim transition. I mean, it was such a step forward.
Yeah, I could totally see why you'd do that. Like, there's a big difference between 2 and 1.
Yeah, but the problem is when you're releasing games yearly, there's no time to improve on what you did last year, because the next game is being worked on before you're even done with the first one.
Yeah, and not to mention that I feel like when you release games yearly, you don't really give people enough time to fully process a game, get over it, and then look forward to the next one before you release it, if you know what I mean. It's like the whole thing with oversaturation. When, like with GTA, like I am, as you very well know, I'm really looking forward to GTA 5. And the reason for that is because I played GTA 4 when it came out, and I loved it at the time. I still do love it, but I played it so much. It's been such a long time that I've had time to play it, play all the DLCs, like mess around in it for hours upon hours, and do pretty much everything that I can think of. Like, I can't think of anything else to do in the game that I haven't already done yet. I still play it because it's a good game. Yet, because I feel like I've fully, experienced everything there is to experience about it, I'm really looking forward to the next game because they're changing so much and adding so much. Whereas with Assassin's Creed, I may not even finish the game before the next one comes out, which means I have no interest in the next one. And that's happened. That's what happened with the Revelations in Assassin's Creed 3. Yeah. And most likely what's going to happen with 3 and Black Flag, if I ever buy it.
It's definitely a possibility. But,
definitely. It just needs to be... I think even 2-year iterations would be better than annual iterations. Even 2-year wouldn't be that bad, but I don't know.
They just need to take a little more time off and work on it a bit. I think the biggest problem for me has always been the environments that they've been changing. Like, I feel the environments in Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 were very strong. They're very beautiful cities, very fun to... Like, aside from all the gameplay in Assassin's Creed 1, I still find exploring Damascus and Jerusalem and the other one, Atker, I think. I find exploring those areas so much more interesting than exploring Rome in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, or exploring New York or Boston in Assassin's Creed 3. And I still feel like Assassin's Creed 2 had the best environments in the series. Like, I don't know what they're doing with in terms of environments. Like, Revelations was just dull, the environment.
Yeah.
It didn't look nice. Like, it had an ugly color scheme. The buildings were all kind of like small. There wasn't really much of it. Like, climbing wasn't that interesting either. It seemed like everything was so easy to climb. Like, there was a straight line. In Assassin's Creed 3, all you had to do for free running was occasionally run through backyards, farmlands, and jump through people's windows every now and then. But there wasn't really much in the way of scaling giant buildings or anything.
No. Well, I think it's one of those things, they couldn't keep the locations the same in every single game, because otherwise that would get tiring after a while.
Yeah, I know that, but
they need to find a better way to mix it up, which is, I think that's why they're introducing more rural, I guess, kind of, or like more tropical settings into
they made
Black Flag,
the free running
jungles, underwater locations.
Yeah, they made the free running seem kind of linear in Assassin's Creed 3. Like, they added like linear segments in buildings where you could free run.
Yeah, like paths and stuff like that.
That's the kind of thing that I don't like. I mean, maybe it would have been more interesting if they would have added more detail to the area that you can climb in, like add more footholds so you can climb up any particular wall, not find a specific wall to climb up. But they didn't. I don't think they fleshed out the environment as much as they could have.
Right.
Anyway.
And the one thing that, speaking about like environments and stuff, before Assassin's Creed 3 was even announced, something I was really, really looking forward to, because I thought that, since Assassin's Creed 3 was going to be like wrapping up Desmond's story, it was going to be like the conclusion, and a lot of people thought it was going to be the last game. I know I did for a while there. Of course, they couldn't let it go.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the thing that I was really looking forward to about Assassin's Creed 3 that I assumed was going to be the case, considering it was the conclusion, was that it would be like an Assassin's Creed game in modern day. Like, you would be a Desmond, and you could like free run around the city. You'd have to fight like police and stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah.
And I thought that if that was the case, that would be awesome. I would totally play it, an Assassin's Creed game in modern day. But it's the fact that they feel the need to stick to the same formula every single time. You know, there's a modern day bit, and then there's a bit in the past where you play as, you know, your character's ancestor. And it's just, you know, 70% of the game is in the past, 30% is in the modern day. And I just thought that they would get rid of the modern day part.
If they have to keep that formula, what would be kind of fun to tweak with would be to have the person in the past be doing research on some sort of artifact and look for it, and the person in the future be doing the assassination, just to screw with it a bit. If they have to keep the same formula, but that way you know you could have actual future gameplay. Because I saw what they did in Assassin's Creed 3 for the future segments. I don't know if you got far enough to see some of them, but they were linear, and my fucking map just fell off the wall. Wow. They were linear, but the combat was pretty good. Like, they had the police officers use basically batons and pistols, but the combat felt all right. You know, it felt like it kind of fit into modern times. It wasn't like it didn't feel archaic. You know, they weren't using swords and muskets. They were just using pistols and nightsticks. But I felt like it transferred pretty well, and I think they could do that in a large scale game.
Yeah, if they were smart about it, they could. Yeah, they could easily make that happen. Like, the thing, especially like as I noticed each game that came out, I noticed they started to introduce more and more that Desmond could do that, you know, his predecessors could. Like in the second one, they started to let you actually fight people in modern day settings, and you could actually start to free run around the warehouse. And then in Brotherhood, you could actually explore Monteriggioni in modern day times. You could free run around the whole area. In Revelations, they completely got rid of any kind of modern day part for the most part. Like, it was all set in the Animus. And then in Assassin's Creed 3, there was a little bit of it, and that you could free roam around that little area in the cave you were in, but it wasn't. They didn't really bring it back in the way I thought they were going to.
You didn't play it enough to see what you could actually do in the modern times.
I didn't get that far.
They went through entire segments in the modern time where you had to actually go through a mission. You had to go through, like, I think 2 missions where one you went through you had to go through a stadium and climb across this giant scaffolding and get to the other side, like in the middle of a boxing match. It was pretty interesting. And then there was one where you had to go through an office complex, and
yeah, I did that one.
That was at the very end.
No, there was one that wasn't near the end. There was one where, like, you had to climb up one building and then, like, I guess parachute or something down to one, and then there's that guy that gets you.
That's a different one. But yeah, they did some pretty good stuff there, and I could see a whole game being that, but I don't know, they don't seem to want to focus on it. I mean, I guess it's because the past is so much more interesting, and they have a very unique market in that. There's no other game that really does this kind of thing, that has games that are set in the past, and they either be set in, like, wars, or they're set in a future, like, not futuristic, but like a fantasy type of past, where there are dragons and stuff. So they're pretty unique in doing an actual historical take on periods that no one else does.
Yeah, but I don't know. I can't imagine I would be alone in like a modern day Assassin's Creed game. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. We're getting like really into like retrospective stuff. There's a lot of stuff to talk about in this game still.
Okay.
But, I wanted to point out something that I saw about the protagonist. I don't think is that important, but Edward Kenway seems kind of skinny. Did you notice that?
Like, no, he looks athletic to me.
Compare him to Connor.
Well, yeah, because Connor's...
Connor was a fucking tank.
He's a jungle man.
Like, what? Wow.
What?
Wow.
That's not racist. That's not racist.
Wow.
That isn't offensive at all. What are you talking about?
Whatever. You play too much Red Dead, man. That's your problem.
Talking about?
Yeah, Edward seems more skinny. Like, he has more like Altair's build, I think. Like, Ezio was a bit more bulky. Connor was very fucking bulky. Then you're going back to Ed, who seems very very thin. I think it just fits the game better. I can't imagine like a really buff pirate who's going around climbing buildings and assassinating people. It would be kind of, you know, it would stand out way too much.
It would be a little bit weird.
You can't have a stealth game with a character that's big enough to just pick up and throw people around.
To be fair, when you think pirate, you do kind of think wiry, skinny.
They were straggly bastards. That's exactly my point.
Yeah.
And I noticed that there seems to be a focus on dual-wielding swords. Like, every
I wouldn't say a
screenshot...
focus.
Yeah, but every screenshot I've seen, all the concept art and all the gameplay features Edward dual-wielding swords.
Because, you know, that's what you do when you make a sequel. Eventually you have to start
Like Assassin's Creed 2 had two hidden blades, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You start dual wielding into it.
But they add a lot of stuff in terms of gameplay, man.
You can even quad wield pistols in this.
Yeah,
How ridiculous is that?
That makes sense though. That fits. There was another game that was like that. What was it? Like, fuck. There was a game where you could like carry multiple pistols and just like fire all of them rapidly. Just like drop each of them. What game was that?
I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember what game that was.
Fuck. That sounds. Fuck. What game was it? You could take like maybe I think like 6 or 7 pistols with you, and you can just like fire them all, and you drop them as you're shooting them. I don't remember what it was. That's gonna drive me fucking crazy though. I'm gonna have to look it up after this is over. But
let me know what it is, cause
yeah,
I'm curious now.
They added hunting, they added harpooning, underwater exploration.
Wait. Didn't they already have hunting in Assassin's Creed 3?
Well, they're refocusing on hunting. They're doubling down hunting. They also added free aim. Which
they did?
Yes. Just like a regular third-person shooter, you can free aim, which I think is about fucking time.
We'll see how they handle it. They could fuck it up.
They could fuck it up. I mean, it is Ubisoft. I can't think of a really Ubisoft game where the shooting was good.
Far Cry?
Far Cry doesn't count.
Why not?
Because it was an FPS.
I was gonna say Hitman, but that's not an...
Hitman's shooting wasn't good either.
Hey, it was alright.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't bad.
It was bad. Anyway, on topic, they also added blowpipes, and they brought back rope darts. I know you liked rope darts, didn't you?
Wait. What are blowpipes? You mean like poison dart things where you go?
I assume. I read blowpipes. I'm guessing that they're gonna be like those dart shooters. But they did add rope darts. I know
that makes
you liked
sense.
Rope
That'd
darts.
just be instead of like a hidden blade thing that you shoot. That's not really a new feature. That's just a reskinning of a feature that already existed.
I guess. But you like rope darts, correct?
Yes, rope darts are fucking awesome. They look swag as fuck.
There you go. And in the underwater sections, I saw in the trailer, and I also heard that you can fight sharks. There's
sharks
full underwater combat.
Wait, there's full... I didn't realize there was full underwater combat, although I did see sharks, and I assume you'd have to fight them off.
At least that's what I heard. I heard full underwater combat. That might be either someone misquoting it or something, but I saw full underwater combat.
Could be an exaggeration.
Yeah. So I know you can fight sharks for sure, but maybe you can fight people underwater. That'd be pretty interesting, I think.
That could make for some cool moments.
Yeah, since there's so much ship fighting, it could be possible that like one of the ships gets sunk, and then everyone falls into the water and start fighting in the water while they're swimming, but try to drown each other, that kind of thing.
You're making it sound a lot cooler than it probably will be.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it'll probably be like very light and weak punches in the water, if anything, or maybe like swinging your sword at each other while you're in the water, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, from the trailer, what I noticed was Edward was, the cinematic trailer where they board the ship. I noticed that they were fighting sailors that were wearing like white or like grey uniforms. I'm gonna assume those are Spanish sailors. But
I also saw some red and white sailors too.
Yeah, so it seems that there are some actually based on the pictures, I saw like a bunch of different colors. It wasn't just like there was grey. There was red and white. I think there were blue. There may have been brown as well. Like there were loads of different. I'm not sure if they stand for different nations or if they're just different, factions. But
at the time, was Havana and were those port cities, were they controlled by different groups at the time? It's possible that maybe different soldiers were. Are you gonna Google it now?
Yep.
Like, what are you gonna Google exactly to find that? That's a very specific question. Like, who controlled Havana in 1735? Like what?
Sure, why not? Havana, Cuba, 1735.
No, actually it would be 1715, something like that. But like, I could see like maybe if the Spanish were controlling Havana at the time, then there would be Spanish soldiers there. But if the British soldiers were controlling like Kingston, there'd be British soldiers there, something like that. I think that might actually be accurate, though. I mean, Jamaica is still a British colony, so maybe the British soldiers were controlling it at the time. So that explains why there were different uniforms for those areas. So you get to kill more British people, yay! I know you were excited about that, weren't you?
Well, I wouldn't say excited, but
you enjoyed it thoroughly.
It was alright.
Yeah, I saw there were also apparently dynamic storms to be had out in the water, so it can change the ship combat around quite a bit. Suddenly a storm might just pick up and make things a bit more difficult for you.
Yeah, that was one thing that read about is that there's now dynamic weather in the game, like a dynamic weather system.
Yeah.
Which, that makes sense for a pirate game. But there's something that I would like to see that I think would be really cool. Is like, it depends how far they take the weather system, because you know there are some games that are like, we have a dynamic weather system, and all it is sometimes it's bright and sunny, sometimes it's misty and rainy. Then you get other games like Red Dead where it's like, we have a weather system, and in that, like, you know, you get rainstorms, you get really dry hot days, you get dry rainy days, sometimes you get little dust tornadoes. And since this is going to be like a pirate game on the sea, by dynamic weather system, I'm hoping that they mean, you know, storms, like cyclones, real storms, with like whirlpools and massive waves crashing and stuff like that. That would be really
I could see
epic
massive
if they managed
waves,
to
but I
pull it
think
off, right?
that cyclones and typhoons and stuff like that might be a bit much, because I mean that'd be basically an instant kill for you if you're out there, you know. They have to balance that for gameplay purposes.
That's if you decide to make it really realistic. They don't necessarily have to make it that realistic. I mean, in real life, if you fall off a building that you could survive in Assassin's Creed 2, that's probably going to kill you in real life. And they're probably going to have a little bit of... Like, you could probably have a storm and it wouldn't kill you in the game. Even though in real life...
I mean, going through a typhoon or a cyclone, I think that would kill... I think that would be like a kind of instant kill in a game. I don't know how else they would be able to do it. Have the ship get, like, picked up into it or swirl down into a whirlpool and get destroyed. I mean, I could see that happening, like, as an obstacle, but I don't think it would just happen randomly in missions, because that might be a little unfair.
Yeah, maybe. It'd be cool, though. I'd love it.
And I saw that you can also upgrade your ships, as usual, but you can also recruit crew members through bar fights. And,
yeah, there's like a whole manageable ship crew thing going on.
And you can customize their outfits.
You can?
Yeah. It's just like the part where you have to recruit people in Brotherhood. You have to go through those side missions to recruit people. You can recruit them through bar fights in this one, Black Flag.
See, I'm trying to decide about whether or not Black Flag is more of an Assassin's Creed game or more of a pirate game, or a pirate simulator. Because, to be honest, I think I may be more inclined to buy this game if it didn't have the Assassin's Creed name on it, if it was just like a pirate game, where you played as like a super cool pirate that can free roam and assassinate people and stuff, but it wasn't called Assassin's Creed. Because that sounds like an original idea, but I'm hoping that they, you know... Because think about that. Think about a pirate game where you can explore freely around the Caribbean. You can manage and like recruit a ship crew. You can go in underwater wrecks. There are storms. You know, there's fights against different types of sailors. You can raid ships. Think about how cool that would be.
Yeah,
it's just like...
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing. Like, they do seem to go for many different ways. They do embrace the part of the assassination game that isn't assassinations. They do seem to go for like hunting and like even Assassin's Creed 3 was focusing a lot more on the Renaissance, not the Renaissance, fucking Revolutionary War and things about the frontier than it was focusing on actually assassinating people. And this game seems to be focusing more on pirates than assassinating people, which, I mean, I guess it is. They're like new games with the Assassin's Creed logo on them, just to sell better.
Yeah, I guess.
But this might change your mind a little bit about the game. There's no notoriety system.
I already know about that.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think that means?
I think that it fits the kind of game they're going for a little bit better. Like, how would they really realistically do a notoriety system in this game?
Well, I mean, I assume that by notoriety they mean, like, you know, you do something suspicious, someone picks up on that, and then after a little while of doing suspicious things, people start to pick up on it faster. I mean, but I guess if you're a pirate, you might just be an outlaw all the time anyway.
Yeah, but when they talk about like notoriety system, I assume they were just talking about, you know, the system that was already in the other games.
Like
where...
Assassin's Creed 1 had a notoriety system, and then
well,
Assassin's
not
Creed, that counts as a notoriety system. That was the notoriety system. They don't even have that.
I was talking about the wanted thing where they have the bar around your thing in the top left, and the more people you kill or whatever, the more that fills up, and when it's full, you just get attacked on sight.
They don't have that, and they don't seem to have any other kind of notoriety system involved. They said no notoriety system. They didn't say they tweaked or changed it. They say they don't have any at all. So maybe you're just like, people are hostile to you all the time.
Well, that's possible.
Which might you know, reinforce the need for stealth, since everyone's going to be hostile to you all the time.
I honestly like that though. I like games where I don't like... like parts where you just have loads of people attacking you once, and you have to either escape or kill them all. And then as soon as like another enemy sees you, they attack you on sight anyway. Like, I prefer games where it's just, you know, people fight you when you start fights, but they don't continue to pursue you after you're finished, if you know what I mean.
Well, I kind of liked walking around Assassin's Creed 2 with the auditory flag, so I mean the auditory cape, so everyone would attack me on sight. Just made things more fun. So I mean, I can see why why they would do that. But I mean, it depends on how they do with the combat, because I feel like the combat in Assassin's Creed games has been kind of going in a very odd direction. They have not made the combat more challenging. They've made it easier, but they've thrown more shit at you instead.
They've made it more badass.
Like actually killing people is so simple now. You just like counter once and they die. Then they added
That's
enemies
always been the case though.
No, if you count in Assassin's Creed 2, some enemies, if you counter them with your sword, they don't kill them. Sometimes you had to use the hidden blade to kill the enemies, and there were enemies in Assassin's Creed 1 that wouldn't die instantly after a counter, so you had to use the hidden blade for them. That's why the hidden blade was such a good weapon at the time. It was hard to use, but it would be an instant kill every time.
I'm pretty sure the majority of enemies died if you counterattacked in Assassin's Creed 1.
No, there were some of the tougher ones. And there were also the Templars that showed up in Assassin's Creed 1 that wouldn't die if you counterattacked them.
No, they did die if you counterattacked them.
Yeah, with the hidden blade, not with the regular sword though.
No, I think it was with the regular sword. That's why like the game got so much easier after you get counterattack, because everyone pretty much dies once you get it.
No, not the Templars. They didn't die after you counterattacked them. They just punched you.
Would you be willing to test this theory?
Yes, I would be willing to.
Okay, I think I've still got the original Assassin's Creed around here somewhere.
Just pop it in right now and do it.
Well, no, I'm not going to do it right now, obviously, you idiot. I told you I was going to do it after this, and I'll let you know.
Bullshit. Anyway, I want them to focus. Like, the combat system in Assassin's Creed 3 was made more fluid. Like, everyone dies in one hit. And they just started throwing large amounts of enemies at you. They throw enemies that throw grenades, like those Jaegers. Throw grenades at you while you fight. And there are a bunch of, like, troops that form up firing squads and shoot at you. It's just so much more hectic. It's not really more challenging. It's just more hectic. And I don't feel like that was really a good step, honestly. But I mean, I'm not sure how else you're going to do it. When you start to add more weapons to the game, eventually you're going to have to start to deal with more shit. Like, you know, when more guns start to appear, enemies are going to have guns more often, obviously. You can't be the only one with a gun. It wouldn't really be fair.
I guess not. Unless they really made it limited.
But, yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to do with the health system. I know they changed the health system in Assassin's Creed 3 from what it was in Assassin's Creed 2, where you'd get hurt and you had to repair the armor and everything. Which I felt was kind of stupid, because it doesn't really make sense. Like, it's supposed to be a sync bar, not a health bar, right? So,
yeah,
why would you get more sync by buying better armor? Unless Ezio actually did go through his life and bought every kind of armor you could find and upgraded all of it and everything. That wouldn't make any sense. Why would that sync you up with him more? Theoretically, any armor that you buy wouldn't sync you unless it was the armor that he had.
Well, no, I'm assuming that it changed in the second one to literally be a health bar, and you dying during that time period, you know, that didn't happen, so that's why you desync. In the first one, it was a sync bar, but you didn't have to worry about health and everything. I don't remember them specifically ever saying that, you know, in Assassin's Creed 2 you still have a sync bar. They just call it a health bar.
No. Did they call it a health bar?
Well, they never say that. They never flat out state it's a sync bar. They're just like, this is your health. This is your armor rating, you know?
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they say, you know...
Because I happen to have a copy of Assassin's Creed 2 right here.
You want to put it in right now and test the theory?
Yes, let's do it right now.
Do it.
I don't have a copy. I'm just lying.
I know.
Anyway, yeah, okay, so enough about that. The final point that I found was they added randomly created side missions. Side missions will just like generate as you explore, apparently.
What do you mean?
Like as you go around, side missions will start to pop up.
But are they completely random, or are they like pre-select? Like
apparently they're random. I don't know any more than you know. That's exactly what it just said. Randomly created side missions. As you explore, you find side missions that generate randomly.
But I mean, is that hinting at user-created content, or is it just...
I don't think so.
So, they are preset missions, they just appear randomly.
I think what it would do is it would have, like, mission templates that would just, like, cycle through different parts of, like, the template. Like, it would have you know what I mean? Like it would be an escort mission. It would say maybe it could be like an escort mission or an assassination mission, and it would pick one of those. And then they could have like certain types of guards. It could be like time stuff like that, just randomly generated things like that. Just take different templates and put them all together to make a mission. That's what I'm assuming.
Right. Okay.
Like randomly generated dungeons in Binding of Isaac, for instance, that kind of thing. There's an algorithm for how the dungeons form, but they're still random.
Right. Yeah, I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think. But,
you're kind of thick, but I think you get it.
Well, you're kind of bad at explaining shit, so.
I don't know how much better I need to be. I have to be like I have to have like a PhD to explain things to you.
You need more detail to explain things to me better. You're already saying anything right now.
Yeah, I just said exactly what I found, and I understood it. So why can't you?
Because there's not really enough detail to give a lot of information on what it is. Like, there's too much that could be speculated.
This is all speculation. Stuff. That's the entire point of this podcast.
A lot of this isn't speculation. A lot of this is actual confirmed features in the game. It's not speculation.
No, there's maybe I have like maybe 4 or 5 paragraphs of actual confirmed features. Everything else is just speculating on features that they mention. And they're not even features, they're just like stuff about, like we're speculating over the development cycles. Having 7 development studios, stuff like that.
I thought you said that was confirmed. I thought you said that there were 7 studios.
That's not a feature though, that's just a thing. We were speculating over it though. What it will mean, that kind of thing. This is all speculation. So this is all cold, hard speculation, and you know it.
It's not speculation if it's already been confirmed. It's only speculation if we're just kind of guessing. And
yeah, we're speculating over what it will add. We're speculating whether or not it will be good. That's speculation.
But I'm just saying a lot of this isn't speculation.
Most of it
is. We're just talking features, but not all of it.
Yes, all of it.
No.
Yes.
Now you're just being
Anything
stupid.
else you want to discuss here?
Well, it's just this is just speculation, but in the trailer. In that trailer, the cinematic trailer where they, the one we were talking about at the beginning, Edward is spying on some ships with a spyglass, and that's making me think, that could just be something for the video, or it could be like an actual gameplay feature where you're on your boat, you're kind of, swimming around or boating around,
and then your hairless first mate comes up to you and kind of like caresses your bum.
No. You see, say, like a pirate base or a port up ahead or a ship off in the distance, and you can get your spyglass out and like kind of tag it from a distance. Think Far Cry 3's camera, and like marks it on the map for you, and then you go over there.
That could be where random side missions come in.
It could be like that, yeah. I think that's what's going on with that, but that's just guessing.
Yeah.
Like I already said. That's all I have to really
Well, I didn't do any research on multiplayer because I don't give 2 shits. So I was kind of hoping that you would do some on that.
I looked into it, and there might be information out there now, but from what I can garner, multiplayer is confirmed, but they just haven't really said much about it right now.
Probably going to be the same thing that it was in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and in Revelations.
And 3.
And in 3, yeah.
They could be creative and cool and awesome and just have you be in massive naval battles online. Or, like, have big, persistent world where there's... Like, imagine this, right? Imagine multiplayer where there's, like, a big, persistent world where it's just, like, the Caribbean and, the islands. And you can basically freely boat around wherever you want. You can go to whatever port or city you want to and explore there. And there are other players in it with you. And you can trade with other players. You can trade in goods or... or actually imagine this, like, there are sailors and pirates, and as a sailor, it's your job to, get goods and sell them and deliver them and, like, do jobs for certain governments and ports. And as a pirate, it's your job to raid sailors and steal their booty. And then as a sailor, you have to, like, fight off pirates. And, like, can you just imagine that, like, a multiplayer on a big open map like the Caribbean, and you just have these 2 teams passively going at each other. It's not like a match. It's just like a existing thing.
Like a guild kind of thing that you'd see in an MMO.
Yeah, kind of like that. That'd be cool. Or just in general, I just think like big naval online battles would be really cool. But instead, I think they're just going to go back to the standard.
Yeah, because I don't think that will appeal to the kind of fan base that Assassin's Creed multiplayer has been garnering. They seem to be more focused on the competitive aspect of the game.
which is a shame.
But I could see like maybe small scale ship battles in the future where one side does have to take cargo from one place to another, and the other side has to sink it or something like that. But I'm not sure how they would incorporate a ship into a co-op. Like, I don't see how 4 people can pilot one ship. One person's piloting it. Maybe one person has to fire, but then it'd be so easy to troll your entire team.
Have it so that like
multiple ships.
No, have it so that there's like one big ship, and like I'm talking 2 massive teams. One massive team of sailors, one massive team of pirates, and there's the main ship, and then there are other smaller ships that are more maneuverable and are used for like I'm trying to think about this. Like, if they made the world big enough, they could have it so that, you know, you can, as a sailor, you can like go on a ship and you go off the sea, and say you have to deliver goods to a port that's on the other side of the Caribbean, and you spend, like, we're talking big enough so that these journeys take a significant amount of time, and you just have your entire crew, and your entire crew is made up of real people. You have the captain, who is, you know, setting the course and in charge of everyone. Then you have the guys, you know, just living down, like, you can, like, I'm trying to think, like, I'm just getting more and more carried away here, but imagine if they had, like, mini games like in Red Dead where you could go drinking under the
so you want like a free play mode, pretty much.
That'd be really cool. I think that'd be amazing. Like,
I'm just talking from like a practical standpoint. I'm trying to see how they could practically implement. I don't think they're going to do a free play mode, because I don't. They could. I think that would be very interesting to do, but I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's hard enough to balance how assassinations work in multiplayer as is. There's this whole weird sequence over who pressed the button first, who pressed what button, who's locked onto each other, that kind of thing. So it might be hard to make that into full multiplayer. But, I mean, there is definitely the mechanic to do that. Just, I think that in terms of ships for practical multiplayer modes that we'll be seeing, I can see maybe like one big ship, like 2 big ships versus each other, but that would be too easy to troll your team. Maybe one big ship with a few small ships, or just a bunch of small ships. And it's like a cargo race kind of thing. I could see that practically done, but I don't think there's going to be anything else.
Yeah, and none of those modes sound like ridiculously interesting, if I'm honest.
That's why I never really played the multiplayer for these games.
Not too ambitious, anyway.
I mean, it's ambitious compared to other games out there, just not ambitious compared to itself.
Well, the thing about like Assassin's Creed multiplayer is I don't think it would be that difficult to make it work if it wasn't also automated anyway. Like, it's not like there's an actual... I mean, there is a combat system, but a lot of it is just like pressing a button and then watching a sequence play out. Yeah. Which obviously doesn't fit itself too well to multiplayer. So if they just... I don't know, I guess they'd have to change a lot of
Focus it more on gunplay, take out assassinations maybe, unless it's like from behind, something like that. I could see them doing that.
Yeah, they could actually do that instead. They could like revamp them. They could change them. They could make the multiplayer like a completely different experience from single player altogether, where you don't
play as an assassin, you play as a pirate.
Yeah, so you use mainly guns and like swords, and I guess they have a different combat system than the one you use in single player, because you're not ridiculous. You're not like a pirate ninja. You know, you can't do all these kinds of flips and cool maneuvers and stuff. It's just like standard sword play.
Yeah, maybe add like a kick move and no counter attack, just like a block and a kick and then regular attack. And then focus on, like, maybe guns, since there's free aim. And if you come up behind someone and press the attack button, you can instant kill them, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you just shove your sword through their chest.
Yeah, I can see how that would work.
They just have to tweak small things in the combat system to make it work better in multiplayer, I think. It's not something that would take an awful lot of, you know, work, but I still don't think they're going to go through with doing that.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either.
Yeah, it just really sucks, though.
So, any final thoughts?
Well, I guess what I know is I guess it's meant to come out this year sometime. I'm gonna kind of guess. I'm assuming it's gonna come out sometime in November. All current generation consoles plus next generation consoles are confirmed, and other than that, all I have to really say is I'm probably gonna pick it up, I think. Although I don't fully expect that I'll stick with it, as so far I haven't stuck with the other Assassin's Creed games too long. Like, all the ones up to Revelations anyway, I've stuck with. But
yeah.
What about you? You think you're gonna pick it up?
The game looks good. All Assassin's Creed games look good, especially before they come out. I mean, there's no exception there. it can't be as bad as Revelations. I mean, if they tweak, I think if they tweak the marine battles a little bit, make them more varied, like add different types of weapons that you can use in a boat, make them a little less sluggish. They have more assassinations. They add more beautiful environments, like Assassin's Creed 2 type environments, not Revelations or Assassin's Creed 3 type environments. Then it has a very high potential to take a big step forward in the series. But like, I don't have a lot of faith. I'm interested to see how they're going to fuck it up. I'm definitely going to play it though.
Interesting. So basically, bottom line is, don't make it like Revelations, and it can't be too bad.
And take a few steps away from Assassin's Creed 3. Like, capitalize on the good parts. Like, Assassin's Creed 3, if it had more interesting environments, would have been a really good game. I just feel like the environments really let the game down. There's just too much open area where nothing really happens, and the cities aren't that interesting.
No, I actually think that the frontier is the highlight of Assassin's Creed 3, because there are loads of, like, just running through the trees feels really cool, especially when you get the rope darts. You, like, run through the trees and you're stalking a British platoon, and then you just, like, rope dart one of them and then jump down and string them up, and then you get into a fight. It just makes you feel really cool, but, of course, once you've done that a couple times, you know, it gets old, so...
Yeah, I've always felt more comfortable exploring cities in games anyway. That's why I liked Assassin's Creed 2 so much.
Yeah.
Because the cities were all really interesting. So, I mean, Havana looks really good. I think Havana might be very promising. It has that kind of European-style vibe, but I don't think Kingston's going to be too interesting to explore. I'm interested to see what Nassau's going to look like. But the jungle should be kind of fun. It should be more dense than the frontier was in Assassin's Creed 3, so there's something there, right?
Mm-hmm. You know, all this talking about Assassin's Creed is kind of make me want to go back to 3 now. I may actually end up finishing that.
You do that. You do finish 3.
It's not a bad game, it just kind of gets old. No. It's one of the games you kind of have to stick at. Once you stop playing for a little while, you don't have much of an urge to go back to it.
Yeah.
At least in my experience.
Like Deus Ex. Human Revolution, I mean.
I guess.
Still haven't gone back to that game.
I didn't have that problem, but I could see why you would.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, before we get off topic and start discussing even more games that aren't really relevant, we should wrap it up.
Okay.
I feel like we've gotten everything out there. So I wanted to say to everyone, thanks for sticking with us this long if you did. You probably didn't, though. If you agree with anything that we say, let us know. If you disagree, let us know. And you have, Cameron, you're going to have to check some of the comments eventually to respond, you know? Do your part. Do your fucking part.
I will.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys respond, and we will discuss things with you. We're very interested in the Assassin's Creed series. This is the first discussion we've done where we actually have a series that we're interested in, and we're a game that we actually do probably want to play. Like, Riptide was... We didn't give a shit about Riptide, and we care about...
The only reason we did one on Riptide was because we were making so many jokes about it beforehand, playing Dead Island.
I feel so bad for people who wanted to see that and wanted to actually learn about the game and thought, hey, let's listen to two people talk about Riptide, all the interesting things it could add. No, it's just two people shitting on it for half an hour.
You know, in retrospect, I do feel kind of bad. I don't think I was as unbiased as I could have been.
I feel like I wasn't mean enough.
Well, you're enough.
Especially since a lot of my thoughts were confirmed about Riptide. I've heard some pretty bad things about it.
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot of great stuff either. But, you know, it just goes to show that we're fucking fortune tellers, you know?
Yeah, we have
None of that was...
We're soothsayers, we have the clairvoyance, you know?
Yeah. You wouldn't have been able to predict that shit. You just have to know.
It was not written on the wall. That was all us, you know? So everything we said here is going to be in Assassin's Creed Black Flag guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
100%.
Take our word at it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
By the way, if anyone's interested in when you're going to die, then let us know and we'll tell you that as well. Or anything else, actually, anything that you think might happen in your future, just ask us. We'll let you know.
All right, so I think that's about it. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If you didn't enjoy, don't leave a like. And maybe share this with some people. Let everyone know how amazing we are, and we will amaze them for you. And in 2 weeks, we'll be doing another one of these. I'm not quite sure what it's going to be yet. You have any ideas?
Huh?
Not get the... What are we going to do next? Which game should we do next? What do you think? A little sneak peek.
We could do one on Watch Dogs, maybe.
I don't know. Watch Dogs. I don't think Fallout 4 has enough stuff out about it yet, so we can't do that.
You could get some suggestions from We're loyal followers.
Yeah, all three of them that stuck with us this long. I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the three of you that did stick with us, but you're probably not going to say anything in the comments. You know.
Anyone.
Anyone. Just anyone
ideas.
say something. Please, for the love of God. This is very difficult.
Otherwise, you may not see another one of these.
Yeah, we may just end this series like altogether. If you don't give us suggestions and donate $5. I mean, Cameron can't even afford to dress himself.
That's true. I'm butt-ass naked right now.
Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next time. You want to say something here? Say bye?
See you next time.
Yeah, there you go.
See you next time.
Yeah.